Hello and welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, this week we're going to be taking a look at the opposition mind space because after the last round of assembly elections, the BJP has already started focusing on the next round. And in fact, so has some of the opposition. We have the Aam Aadmi Party making inroads in Himachal Pradesh and eyeing Gujarat also. We have the Congress also showing some signs of activity. Not much, but at least there is Sonia Gandhi, who was again stepped back as the interim president and taken charge again. So if you look at the opposition mind space or leaders who dominate the opposition, there is Sonia Gandhi from the Congress, there is Aam Aadmi Party, and there Mamata Banerjee, I think, has taken a step back, really. She's not in the running, at least for the next round of elections. I said Sonia Gandhi from the Congress, but that's a temporary solution. The Congress is only in play if Sonia Gandhi is there, or is there a future even beyond Sonia Gandhi? That's something we're going to be discussing today with my panel of political analysts and people who have an inside track. I have Rashid Kidwai, author of 24 Akbar Road. We have PKD Nambiar, a commentator and someone who's familiar with the workings of the Congress. Sanjay Jha, the eternal rebel and still suspended Congress leader, former spokesperson of the party. Dilip Cherian, political commentator and again a columnist and someone who knows what is happening. Rashid, I'll begin with you. You wrote a very interesting piece also on how Congress is trying to get its act together for the Gujarat elections, but not really making it. So my first question to you is Sonia Gandhi a temporary solution, or do you think she'll have to extend this interim business for a little while longer?
I think Priya, Sonia Gandhi is here to stay till 2024, and she's going to oversee everything that whatever happens. Now, the Congress has a problem in hand. It has to decide, and it has actually no option whether to focus on assembly elections before 2024, that being Gujarat, Himachal, Karnataka, and some other northeastern states, or to focus on 2024, the Lok Sabha elections. And this is a kind of problem because if you focus on assembly elections and if you keep losing, then it will show that 2024 is a gone case. And forging unity at the expense of assembly elections is far more difficult. So if you look at Aam Aadmi Party, maybe it will be game for a alliance for 2024, but it is not willing to kind of have some understanding with the Congress in Gujarat or in Himachal or in Karnataka. So this is a real problem. You look at poll strategist Prashant Kishor's role also. Prashant Kishor also apparently wants to, he's been arguing that let's try because the opposition is well placed in southern India, it's well placed in eastern India, so that kind of takes care of 150 Lok Sabha seats. Then there are 200 plus seats where the Congress and BJP are in direct contest. So Congress should try, looking at candidates, resources, finance, election issues right now, so that it will give them ample time of about 2 years for preparation. So all these things are going on, but I think Congress is, as ever, it's confused. It does not know what to do next. It's not being able to solve whether it's a leadership issue in Rajasthan or a PK issue, as they keep saying, or number of things, and its own internal leadership issue. So it does not have a luxury of many options. Look at Gujarat. I mean, Gujarat of 2027 looks, very good. The way Rahul Gandhi had tried to take on the BJP, and Gujarat Congress campaign for 2022 looks very bleak, non-starter kind of thing. So this is a kind of background where Sonia Gandhi is trying to put a very brave face. She has this IOU voucher kind of thing, like this. She has a lot of goodwill within Congress, outside Congress, within non-BJP NDA. So she's there. But we know that as a campaigner, this is not 2004 for her.
I think Rashid has really given us a very comprehensive outlook of what is facing the Congress. But Dilip, he mentioned Prashant Kishor. Do you see Prashant Kishor coming in? There've been talks again. So what have you heard on that front? And B, the other interesting thing, he said that he thinks Sonia Gandhi will continue till 2024. So all this talk of election may just end up with her being back in the saddle. Dilip.
So the question about PK, what I'm hearing on the ground is that he's back in play in some kind of form. Having been snubbed very quietly in Bengal, PK is certainly looking for relevance and space more than anything else. And, his ambitions are not, shall I say, satisfied by the, efforts he's going to put in Telangana. So I think that he is looking for that space, and he'll have to make substantial compromises if he's going to have to work with the Congress party. That's the first question. As far as what happens with the interim Congress president segueing into a full-time Congress president, if she stands for election, there is no doubt that there will be nobody else standing against her. Because even the group of 23, which has been very quiet, very somnolent, and probably has the counting wrong, recognizes that if she agrees to be full-time president, most of their complaints are dealt with. So I think that we have to watch to see who throws in their hat at the time of elections. As to elections, I'm quite confident that they will have some kind of an election, and that is probably the minimum that they can expect.
Brigadier Nambiar, what is your take? What are you hearing in terms of the Congress leadership issue? Will it be Sonia till 24, or Rahul Gandhi is actually going to, make up his mind and put in his hat?
The challenges of Congress are many. It is not only at the national level and in many places in the regional level. Even some places where they have little bit of a stronghold, like whether it is in the south, for an example, in Kerala and Karnataka, as an organization it is strong. But you will be surprised, in Karnataka they have appointed more than 100 plus general secretaries. So that means every state, every district would have maybe 3 or 4 general secretaries. Gone are those times that you have only a very handful of general secretaries. They are very well resourceful, powerful, they have a say. So I think it's becoming more of like an accommodative kind of a politics, wherein every small leader do play, not only just commanding a position rather than or power play. It's purely power play, because the primary reason for that, there is more of like a Congress is becoming a headless chicken. I am sure that Sanjay ji may not agree with me on this, but that's the truth. And I know a lot of people, and that some of the topmost people are my own very relatives in the Congress. So they're all very, very worried and tensed, and you can't find that charm in them anymore. Like some of them used to be like the real youth leaders, very powerful youth leaders who are ready to take on to anybody. But today they are all in a bleak phase. They don't know what to do in the morning and in the evening, other than doing some press conferences and some doing some meeting. So the challenges of Congress is in manifold. But I still feel that Congress is a large party. There is a large number of people who still believe in the concept of Congress. So you can call it like a sleeping elephant. But the only thing is that who is the captain who will wake this elephant and make sure that it runs once again. But that's going to be a big challenge. But the another thing is that the space where there is a space for a national opposition party today. So is that Aam Aadmi Party will be the right party for it? Has it really proved? Is it right now working on a wrong or a fake narrative? Will it really be able to, that fake narrative can be converted into a real narrative in the Punjab is the one wherein it is going to be playing it? Or is it too early for them to have this kind of a national aspiration? I think to me, I think Aam Aadmi Party is the kind of expansionism what they are looking at is not a practical one.
We're going to Aam Aadmi Party a little later, but I wanted Sanjay to take. Sanjay, you're someone who knows what's happening within the G23. And I think as Dilip said, is the G23 happy with Sonia Gandhi taking charge again? Is that someone they can work with? And B, do you see her, do you need her to hold on to charge a little longer than the next elections, at least till 24?
PK, I want to first tell PKD that he's sounding more like PK at the moment. Excited and insightful on the state of the Congress. And I think he's actually giving a compliment. PKD, when you said that, when you called the Congress a headless chicken and you thought I'll have an objection to it, not at all. In fact, I think that's a compliment, because a headless chicken moves, right? A headless chicken is frantic. A headless chicken is all over the place.
Correct.
The Congress, on the other hand, is comatose. And Priya, let me just kind of take the bull by the horns. With due respect to my friend Rashid, and I think he's an amazing follower of the Congress party's fortunes and of late its misfortunes. I think it's a political naivete to believe that Sonia Gandhi coming as the Congress president will resurrect the Congress. Absolutely no chance whatsoever. Let me tell you, I have said this to my friends in G23, many of them whom I know very closely, who have said that they will be okay with the interim or a permanent arrangement of Sonia Gandhi as the Congress president. Let me tell you the truth, Priya. If Sonia Gandhi is the president, basically whether it's G23 or any other Congress supporter, they are agreeing to Rahul Gandhi as the de facto Congress president. You see, if Sonia Gandhi is the president, basically, let's not pretend and pussyfoot around here. It effectively means Congress has not changed at all, because they are saying that we are letting through subterfuge and smokescreen, allowing Rahul Gandhi to be the big boss. Because even today, since he resigned as the Congress president and Sonia Gandhi has been the interim president, she calls herself as the full-time president. I don't think anybody legally agrees with that at all, or even morally agrees with that. Although Congress has now become so absolutely subservient and subjugated, nobody speaks the truth. PKD actually has spoken the truth. He and I are on opposite sides very often, but he's nailed it. He's nailed it. The truth is that at this point of time, the elephant in the room that the Congress party has to accept, that the Gandhi brand is damaged. And within the Gandhi brand, Rahul is irreparably damaged. Therefore, people are seeing Sonia Gandhi as a sliver of hope and Priyanka Gandhi as largely untested. So the way forward for the Congress is either to continue with this sliver of hope on Mrs. Gandhi or try and give Priyanka a chance, and they have to accept that Rahul is a no-show. Now, I'll tell you the problem for the Congress. The Congress can't do without the Gandhis. India doesn't want the Gandhis anymore. So this is the reality. There's a dichotomy. The Congress cannot move beyond the Gandhis for reasons best known to them. I'm a congressman by ideology. And because I believe the party is bigger than an individual and should be, I'm willing to move beyond the Gandhis, although I like them personally. 99% of the congressmen can't do that because they are careerist politicians and they have benefited from crumbs and campaigns that the Gandhis have done for them. I have no such moral obligation. Therefore, I speak fearlessly on your show. But what the Congress needs to understand, India wants a Congress without the Gandhis. I have said it in one show and I will say so on yours. If today Rahul Gandhi says, I step down, I will not be the Congress president and I will not be a prime minister of a Congress-led coalition, the Congress's vote share will go up by 5% within a day.
I'm going to hold that provocative thought and get Rashid's inputs in it, because this is a conversation Rashid and I have had, and he has an interesting theory of, how Congress also should see themselves, the Gandhi should see themselves as a role of, I think, trustees is the word that Rashid uses very often, of the party. What that means, what is the formula that he has in mind, after a quick break. Hello and welcome back to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. We're here discussing the fate of the opposition, and that, of course, means the Congress largely. Rashid, before the break, Sanjay said a very interesting phrase, which is that the Congress can't do without the Gandhis, but the Gandhis can't win elections. Is there a way out? Some formula you have in mind?
Yeah, so I think what Mr. Sanjay Jha is saying is a very kind of fashionable and rather appealing narrative. But just close your eyes for a moment and think of a scenario when there is no Gandhis as in the Congress or as Congress president, and you have a Mukul Wasnik or a Shashi Tharoor or a Manish Tiwari, whoever you name, or Kapil Sibal as Congress president. Do you think that a person who's voting for Modi, person in Uttarakhand who defeated the chief minister and yet gave BJP a full mandate, much more than since the formation of Uttarakhand, do you think that that person is going to start voting for the Congress? Where is this 5% going to come from? From television studios? So I have grave doubt about that. I think the internal Congress crisis has little to do with the votes. Votes is altogether whatever. If the Congress sets its house in order, even then, do you think that you see the Congress tally of at present 52 in Lok Sabha is going to go up? Where are the seats going to come from? Mr. Nambiar is here. He knows what is the position in Kerala. Today, the bulk of Congress MPs come from Punjab, Tamil Nadu, and Kerala. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that today, maybe in Tamil Nadu, because of that alliance, the Congress may do well. But in other states, look at the map of India. There is not one state you can see where Congress seems to be gaining even by a single seat. I mean, I was calculating with some senior leader and he just arrived at the figure of 37 in 2024. So this is a long and short of it. See, what happens in the Congress is not voters' concern. It is optics. As I said, it's fashionable. It's very appealing. It's good for, the Sonia Gandhi has had number of one-on-one meetings with G23, and the entire conversation has been around what to do next. And what do they say? They say set up a committee, a decision-making committee. What senior people in the Congress want, a place in the high table. That's what they want. They want to be part of that, decision-making process where KCV and Surjewala and others are occupying that important position. So the struggle is for number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 till number 10. It's not for the top job. It is not like P.V. Narasimha Rao versus Arjun Singh kind of scenario. Therefore, you see this kind of thing in the Congress, sense of helplessness, and they just, look at somebody, some Gandhi. Okay, Rahul Gandhi is not listening to him, so they go to Sonia Gandhi. Then they look at Priyanka Gandhi, some kind of.
They want Gandhis to be at the head of the table.
Precisely, and everybody, because actually the heavy lifting part is done by Gandhis only. You look at this five state election or other election, who were the people who were campaigning? It was they, and I'm not saying just because they were Congress president or they're powerful, that's why they are called. The candidates who are stakeholders who want to win election, they are the ones who call for Rahul Gandhi, who ask for Priyanka, who ask for Sonia Gandhi. They don't ask for bulk of G23 members unless they come from.
They do ask for Sachin Pilot, the other name.
Sachin Pilot, but in bits and pieces. Yeah, that's true.
Dilip, a lot of head shakes. Rashid, your comments have said. So let's discuss what Rashid has said, beginning with Dilip.
Not trying to contend with Rashid or, my scenario is slightly different. With the Gandhis or without, there is a problem with the Congress party, and that problem begins at the states. Why are you not empowering BK Shivkumar, I'm just using a name, to run Karnataka? Why are you not giving Sachin Pilot early charge of Rajasthan? Why are you not telling Hooda to take charge of Haryana? You don't need to worry about 2024. Worry about the state elections, for heaven's sake. That is where you start building up both cadre and presence. And there, you don't have to worry about the Gandhis, because you're not trying to fight for a thing against Mr. Modi. So I think that the problem is lack of delegation. If that means replacing the Congress president with someone who knows how to delegate and how to give authority and how to lead the troops from behind without thrusting their face onto a state election, that's the kind of Congress president that we need today. Because I agree that the public is not going to vote for X, Y, Z Gandhi, but the public is going to vote for an alternative narrative if that narrative can be led by somebody who owns the narrative and will have to deliver on that narrative. So I'm not saying that they will win as a result of this, but they will certainly have a more, shall I say, acceptable showing. And that's only possible if you have a delegator at the top and who decides quickly. The other problem of the Congress party today is delay, file making and delay. Everybody is writing notings and writing files, not necessary.
More committees. Okay, Dilip makes a good point, PKD, that let's strengthen the Congress at the state level, which incidentally, Dilip is I think it's something opposite to what Prashant Kishor has said, because he's focusing on Lok Sabha level and not the state. So PKD, there is a solution here. The other solution is let the Gandhis, as someone said, the Gandhis are essential to keep the Congress together. So let the Gandhis take on organizational roles, but the face of the party, the outside face, the PM face should be somebody else. Let them find their own version of Manmohan Singh, but a mass leader, not just a rubber stamp. But how does that sound to you?
But just let me ask you this: who is that face? Tell me this: out of the G23, this so-called G23, how many people will be able to get 1,000 people? They will be able to attract 1,000 people in a public function. They have Kapil Sibal, can he? No, none of these people. They have all been in the Delhi, the typical Lutyens zone for several years. Enjoyed every bit of the Congress the great time. Rajya Sabha, ministership, all of them, they have enjoyed very well. Have they been able to go to their own? Will they be able to, like for an example, a Kapil Sibal or an Anand Sharma, or for that matter, to most of these G23 people will not be able to win a Lok Sabha seat on their own today.
But
So
can you go beyond G23? Take Dilip's example. If you build good regional satraps, Modi bhi to state se hi aaya tha.
So that is the way it should be. I agree with Dilip ji completely, because if you really look at the old the Congress of Indira Gandhi or even the Rajiv Gandhi's time, you would always find very strong leaders across every state. They are like the powerful lieutenants of the Indira Gandhi or the high command. So there is one supreme leader in every state who used to be the one who really coordinate with the central, the high command. That used to be the culture of Congress once. There may be one or two places or a couple of places, there may be one or two people who wanted to come and take on those people. That's a part of a democracy. But the today's challenge of Congress is actually what Sanjay ji said is the right thing, that Rahul Gandhi has already failed not once, multiple times. In the 2014 onwards, if you really look at it, how many times he has failed. So even if we still try to give him another chance, that's becoming more of like a, not only dangerous, I would say it's like a suicidal. Now coming to the second part, that Sonia Gandhi she's aging, she's not in her great health, she's not the one who can travel. You can't sit in a 10 Janpath and control a large country like this, even a large party like a Congress, just sitting in a conference room or at home. So I think we need Congress needs to have a strong leadership, and who could be that? And with being Gandhi's there, nobody will be even able to emerge. They all becomes like more of like, I don't know whether it's the right word to use, more of like a slaves of that particular family. This is where the problem. And Sanjay ji is able to talk today so strongly. Why? Because he was never benefited in that way, as he said. Because most of the other people, like even G23 or those people, they were always being benefited from that particular family. And so they today don't have the courage and the conviction to go and talk about against the particular family. So the most important part is that in a democracy like India, do we need to have a strong Congress? We need to have. Do we need a strong opposition nationally? We need to have. We don't want to have a majoritarian, but the problem is the regional parties are becoming today. Stalin is bossing around Congress, Telangana or the other places, or even Shiv Sena is becoming like a boss of Congress, or NCP is, or Sharad Pawar takes a call, not the Congress. So becoming a B and a C party everywhere is not going to be. And I am with Dilip ji that they need to have a very strong, and they need to believe in one leader who can be the real supreme leader in every state, who has got the courage to take, and even at least even the role of an opposition leader. Till that time, sorry, Congress is going to die sooner or later.
Meaning it's pathetic what they've done with Karnataka with appointing 100 of general secretaries. It's the level of rubbish which, should not be tolerated by any party. I'm sorry.
Correct. See, you need to learn from CPIM, for an example, or even for BJP.
I don't think so.
No, I'm saying the reason being that organizational structure. See, I'm an absolute critic of, I cannot tolerate left. But then I'm just telling you, but there are some good part of the left, for an example, CPIM, they conduct an election every 3 years. From the branch level to the law level. Do you know that right now, as we talk, the Congress is having its membership drive? The pathetic situation of the Congress is that they have not been able to, they have extended the membership drive 3 times. They have not been able to. So who are you challenging in the politics is always of that particular time. Today, you are challenging a Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who's a tall leader, mass leader, who work 24/7, 365 days. You cannot have a holiday politics anymore, and that's what Rahul Gandhi represents.
Quickly, Sanjay, lots to contend, but we also have short time, so a quick rebuttal from you.
Well, Priya, I think firstly, you can't make a dichotomy between being good in state elections and thinking of 2024 later. So I will disagree with Dilip there. You have to win both states, you have to win the general, you have to work on both simultaneously. And at the same time, you can't even ignore a municipal election in politics. You see, that's what BJP has changed in the country. It fights the Telangana Municipal Corporation, knowing that's a step towards winning the state. And that's exactly what the kind of politics Congress needs to play. I will completely agree with what PKD has said today. I'll tell you why. Because some of us have an advantage. Because, when you look at the problems of the Congress dispassionately, you realize where the problem lies. Now, why are we still talking about, Congress needing to improve, blah, blah? Congress has to transform. Congress has to have a new avatar. And for that, you need today a leader who's inspirational, who communicates with everyone in the media, who fires up the cadres, who talks to the middle class, to the farmers, to the corporates. It is not Rahul Gandhi. Let me put it down straight. PKD mentioned a point that I have actually shared with people in my G23 and beyond. Let me tell you that. You can't have a Congress president, with due respects to Mrs. Gandhi, who's sitting in Delhi, who can't campaign anymore. I mean, for God's sake, JP Nadda, after West Bengal, said, I will cover all the 30 states of India or 29 states of India in 100 days. You can't say that the opposing challenger will not be able to campaign. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's a farce. And for everyone, like, I'm disappointed with Rashid, and I need to tell him on your show very transparently. After losing 2 Lok Sabha elections in double digits, getting wiped out of Punjab on account of a political harakiri, and literally being wiped off the Hindi heartland, the only place where the Gandhis have some magic left is the southern part of India. That's the only place where the Gandhis still have some brand value left. And to say here who will succeed for the Congress, I think, Rashid, you're sowing the seeds of a Congress extension by saying that. You know what? In my opinion, can I say so, Priya? Anybody other than the Gandhis today will be successful, because large parts of India want an end to this perception of a monopoly being held by the Gandhis. It doesn't mean that the Gandhis didn't bring value. It just means there comes a time when people want to see the Congress in its true elements. And the party has talent. The party has talent. It is being destroyed because of the perception of it being a fiefdom of just a few people.
Quickly, Rashid, I know you're a sensitive person.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating that, it's being said that Gandhis are not required and not a single name is floated. You see, when we say options.
Hello. I've said Sachin Pilot 100 times, Rashid. Don't try and be clever by half.
No, I'm not being clever.
Has Sachin himself indicated he's willing? He's not.
Let Sachin Pilot, like I give you example of Arjun Singh, let him throw hat in the ring, and all the best to him and to you and everyone.
I know Sachin very well. He's willing, and the world knows it within the Congress. Go on, Rashid.
So the elections are coming. We'll see who finally does throw his hat in the ring, and also from the Gandhis, whether Sonia stands or Rahul, because somebody from the Gandhis will stand. That is for certain.
Or a dummy. Don't forget a dummy. Even a dummy can be put up there. Remember that.
They will put up a dummy, and that dummy may be one of the Trojan horses from G23, Sanjay. So you better take a look within your camp also. But for now, that's it. Thank you for this conversation and lots more to talk. So I'm going to call you all back soon next week, hopefully, and continue this conversation. Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.